Well, a team that potentially may be leaning into that villain era as well is a team that is only in their third season, San Diego Wave, but wanting a title. They won the Shield last year under Casey Stoney in just her second year, in just the second year of existence for this club. They wanted the Shield, but they wanted the championship. They fell short. They lost in the semifinals. They will play against Gotham on Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That match happening at Red Bull Arena. But San Diego Wave, to start off this season, they don't have too many changes to their roster, frankly. It's a core group that has stayed pretty consistent, Sandra. When you look at San Diego, what excites you about this group?
The fact that they've just achieved so much really in just their short history. I think going into year 3 for this team, they already have a precedence that they set for themselves. If it sort of feels like if this team rolls out in year 3 and flops, like maybe that might be a little bit of an eyebrow raiser. That might be like, hold on a second here. Like this is a team that came out
Mhm.
swinging, that entered this league as an expansion franchise and doesn't know what it means to not make the postseason. That's what exists now for this San Diego Wave franchise. They don't know
Talk
what it
about a
means
high
to fall
standard for
short.
expansion
It
teams,
is,
too.
and if this is a season where there's 2 more teams that are getting introduced, where the playoff line is technically lowered a little bit depending on how you might view it, with combination of expansion and 8 teams getting into the mix. If you don't make that postseason in your short history after having achieved that for yourself, that's absolutely like you selling yourself short. So I don't anticipate that. I see this roster put together in terms of what they may have lost in the offseason and what they gained in the mix. I feel like they have a lot of important pieces back in the mix to go ahead and kind of run things back and maybe, just maybe, finally get that NWSL championship. At the very least, maybe make it to the final. They've fallen short now a couple times, but I like that so much of their roster is mostly intact. And in terms of what they went out and got to try to maybe bulk up in some areas, I really liked the signing of Savannah McCaskill for them in the free agency period. I think there's some nice overlap there in terms of SoCal rivalry, kind of luring one player to the dark side, so to speak. And I really liked that kind of post expansion draft move to acquire Elise Bennett. I'm very excited for this player to get in the mix with San Diego Wave. Hopefully she can get some extended minutes, more looks on the ball, and hopefully Casey Stoney has some good plans for her.
Yeah, I agree. I think Savannah McCaskill is a winner. She is a gritty player. She is going to lead, I think, in this midfield. And look at this: Van Egmond, McCaskill, Jaden Shaw. That is an intimidating, whether Jaden Shaw plays in the middle
Lethal.
or in the front. I think we're going to see a lot of combination between those three. And I think McCaskill is actually going to give something that they've been missing, which is somebody that's going to lead in the midfield. She's not afraid to dribble, go 1v1. She's good with both feet. She has a great vision to slip balls through. It's not just really relying on Jaden Shaw to do it so much anymore. I think that she's going to be a really, really good addition this coming season. And what a fun rivalry between San Diego and LA. And that, you're right, switching over to the dark side of trading clubs like that. But this team, you're right, their expectation is super high. You join this club and you're expecting to go into the postseason. It's pressure. It's what's going to drive them. And then you have a coach like Casey Stoney, who I think is just scratching the surface of what this team could be. I don't think we've seen the best of them yet. We've seen them evolve year over year. First, it was kind of kick ball over the top, flicks from Korniak. Let's try to score in an ugly way. It's not going to be a fun game to play or watch, really. To now they're playing much better soccer. We're seeing them combine and break teams down. And I think with the acquisitions they got in this offseason, that they've really, really improved, and we're going to see a fun club to watch this coming
This
season.
San Diego side, Casey Stoney has a plan. No matter what she's doing, despite the expansion draft where she expressed her frustration publicly saying, hey, this should not be allowed. How can they just take players from my team and things like that? So she's very intentional about the players she wanted to get. And that's why San Diego didn't make that many acquisitions in this offseason. I think Savannah McCaskill was the biggest move for them. Elise Bennett, I think, was an opportunity for them to trade with an expansion side and see what could happen there. But Savannah McCaskill, to me, was the eye on the prize for San Diego, hands down. Add stability down the spine. When you look at San Diego and who they have, right? Kaylin Sheridan, world-class goalkeeper, Naomi Girma, U.S. women's national team starting center back. Their midfield needed some bulking up, right? You have Jaden Shaw, Alex Morgan up top. Who was going to be the player in the midfield to really bring the entire group together from line to line? And that's who they get with Savannah McCaskill. She will make or break this team this year, and I think she's going to make it. Because of that acquisition, it's a way for San Diego to level up and find that missing piece that they had been missing the last 2 years, which I realize sounds absolutely crazy to say because they're only 2 years old, right? We're talking about a toddler here in the league. I'm like, this is an opportunity now. But frankly, that's their goal. And it has been no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're making the playoffs. We're winning the Shield. We are ultimately going to win the championship and go on. We'll talk a little bit more later at the end of these episodes, whether the teams will make the playoffs, who will be the dark horse, how everything is going to unfold for them, because there is an expanded playoffs this year with 8 teams making the postseason in the NWSL with a lot of moving parts, which potentially makes it easier for some teams, but also harder for other teams to make that postseason.